Good evening, buenas tardes. We will begin, can you hear me? Yeah. We will begin with the public hearing. Jamal? We're starting with the public hearing first. Public hearing held
Okay.
for the purpose of discussion of the Osborne School District's revision of, actually, this one's first, right? Held for the purpose of discussion of the Osborne School District's compliance with the Children's Internet Protection Act, SEPA.
Good evening, Madam President, board members, and Superintendent Robert. The purpose of the public hearing today is to inform the public that we are a SIPA-compliant district. And we have the tools to keep our children safe. The USAC, the organization that administer the E-rate program, they actually have to certify us every year in order to get funding. And by that, I have to provide information about our web filter and even copy of this public hearing and other information to get that certification every year. So today I'm here to tell you that we have lots of web filters. We have web filter to protect the kids from the internet. We also have web filter that allow the all teachers to monitor the kids here or at home also. Their activities, where they go on the internet, and they can block and block them, basically really focus them on education. And also our web filter protect the kids anywhere in the world. Wherever they go with our devices, they are protected. We protect them, protect their emails, their chat. We are actually block chat. And any kind of communication we monitor, make sure they are safe. So today I'm here to ask if anybody has any question in here or on YouTube, if they have any information about what we do to protect our kids, to please either say it here or submit information to our technology department, and we'll be happy to answer them. So I'm open for any questions. If there is nothing, please let me know.
Thank you, Jamal. I have a question. This is where you, is this where you keep track of like the words? There's some target words that are being, I guess, when children search them, you keep track of all of these the word
Yes.
searches?
Everything is blocked and recorded and monitored daily and 24/7. Whenever the kids, whether here at home, we are monitoring. We also have tools to give the principal access to see and also help us in different tools. I'm not mentioning the name of the tools, there's so many of them. But if people are interested, I would give the information out.
Wonderful. Any other questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Jamal.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now moving on to the public hearing held for the purpose of discussion of the Osborne School District's revision of the fiscal year 2022 expenditure budget. Colleen?
Good evening. ADE calculates budget capacity for districts in the fall each year and then notifies districts in October if they're required to do a December or mid-year revision. We were notified on our Budget 25 letter by ADE at the end of October that we needed to do a budget revision to align our adopted budget capacity to what ADE calculated. The timing of that happens prior to ADE finishes calculating our annual financial reports that determine our carryover amount from FY21 into FY22. So while we were notified by ADE that our budget capacity had been calculated as less than what was adopted, the revision actually being brought before you tonight is an increase to our budget compared to what was adopted once you account for that carryover, which is just a timing issue between when ADE notifies us and then ADE finishing processing districts' AFRs. The attachment in the packet outlines the change. So the fund that's changing is our maintenance and operations budget compared to what was adopted. And solely due to that increase in carryover and The kid count is slightly higher by 1.5 students overall, but pretty much all due to that carryover is just under 600.
Are going on in Cougar Country. So with that, we'll go ahead and hop right into it. All right, so the first thing that we wanted to talk about was a quick overview of our 21st Century Clubs. We're very thankful to our staff for providing high quality and a wide range of after-school options for our Cougar students. As you can see, a very long list, and that's not even the entire list. And so, with that, we have extensive offerings for students from reading club to anime club, from sculpture club with our art teacher to hip hop dance. So there's a little bit of something for everybody there. We also, one club that in particular that I wanted to highlight was our robotics club. Students were able to create and code their own robots as teams for different tasks. So one task included designing a robot that moved following the light from a flashlight. Another design included a robot that was powered by clapping. So literally students would clap and the robot would start moving around and following the pattern that they had coded. And also there was another robot that was programmed by students, and you'll see it in the next clip, in which they choreographed a dance to go along with the song. It's a little bit of ABBA right there.
Nice. Beautiful dancing robot. No, they're on a special display. Yes.
So as you can see, we're very appreciative of our STEM teacher, Mrs. Evans, who has designed so many wonderful activities for our kids, both during the school day and outside of the school day, where they're able to use their creativity, where they're able to use their critical thinking and problem-solving skills as well. So I know they had a lot of fun with those activities. Another club that we wanted to highlight was our soccer club. In November, we had our district-wide soccer tournament between the 3 elementary schools, and I'm beyond happy to say that our Cougar team swept the tournament. Woo! We're very proud of their hard work and dedication, but even more proud of their sportsmanship that they showed throughout the tournament. They were very supportive of other teams, including volunteering to play on other teams when they were missing players. So very, very, very proud of all of them, and so hats off to them. The other things I wanted to highlight was just thinking about some big happenings at Clarendon. We've really leaned into our core values of joy and relationships, specifically in this last quarter that we just had. And we wanted to provide opportunities for students to not just see school as a place of learning, but a place where fun and happiness can happen as well. So what we'll talk about will highlight some of these things. So one of the first things was Planting Day. Earlier this fall, we celebrated Planting Day, where each class planted seeds during the planting season. They planted things, a lot of yummy vegetables such as carrots, cucumbers, and leafy greens, among many other things. And the goal of Planting Day is to expose our students to gardening, as well as to contribute positively to our school community. So a big thank you to Mr. Parker's class for the community service and getting all of our gardens in line. But as you can see, we've had a pretty good season. You see that squash is like the size of a small baby, so wonderful. And a big shout out to Corey and the culinary crew. The students from that class took that squash and the culinary crew roasted it so the kids could eat it and see like the fruits of their labor, so it's wonderful. But as you can see, our gardens are doing super well. So we also have Character Day, which was on October 31st. Everybody had the opportunity to dress up as a character from their favorite book or story. And as you can see, there's a couple of students, if you see the avocado and the graduate, who wrote their own stories to go along with their outfit as well. So we really enjoyed their creativity with that. And then at the end of trimester 1, we had our grade level awards assemblies. And during the assembly, we recognized students who made the principal's list, honor roll, as well as students who excelled in their specials classes and showed perseverance and special effort in their homeroom classes. And after students received their awards, we also presented awards to some of our new teachers for surviving their first parent-teacher conferences. So woohoo to them. As well as we ended the assembly with a joyful homeroom competition and potato sack races. So we have a short video that we'll show just so you can get a feel for it.
Banana, don't let them. All right, ready, set, and go.
So as you can tell, the students had a lot of fun just having some homeroom competitions between themselves and building camaraderie within their homerooms and with each other, cheering each other on and everything like that. We've had a busy quarter, so the next thing was our turkey trot. And so we had our annual turkey trot on November 22nd, and you can see our students running around. During this event, students chose to either run or walk 1 mile for exercise and for the chance to win a turkey. And after the race, we celebrated with some bomb pops. But we want to say a big thank you to those who donated towards the turkey trot. With the help of our school community, families, and friends, we were able to raise $1,325. And so the funds for the turkeys went to our turkey trot winners. So they went home with turkeys on the bus and everything, as well as some Fry's gift cards to help some of our other Cougar families during the Thanksgiving season. And so we know our families and students were very appreciative of those who were giving towards us. And then last but not least, we had our Spirit Week last week. Our days included Mismatched Monday, Twinning Tuesday, Wacky Wednesday, Throwback Thursday, and Fancy Friday. And students really got into this as well. And if you go to the next slide, there's one very dedicated person I want to talk about. In the top right-hand corner, we have a 4th grade who decided to shave their head. And yes, the mom did know about it and helped with it, but very dedicated to Wacky Wednesday.
Wow.
And so as we continue on into the school year, we want to continue to lean into our values of joy and building relationships as we go throughout the rest of the year.
Wonderful. Thank you. I will share something. I was going to ask, like, did turkey trot happen this year? Because I know it didn't happen last year. That was like one of my children's favorite. We're a legacy family. Both of my kids won it every year until they got to middle school. And now they don't have it, but they, like, I remember the first year my son the oldest one, he thought he was going to win a real turkey. And he was like, they gave me a frozen turkey. I'm like thinking about winning a real turkey for us.
How are you gonna bring that home?
Bring a real turkey to our house. And he was like, yeah. He's like, I thought it was going to be a real turkey, but it's a frozen one.
Mr.
Very much.
And Mr. Marr, just want to say thank you very much. Wonderful stuff going on. And I swung by the vaccine event, which you didn't mention, which was also a huge highlight. It was fantastic on Saturday. It seemed like a lot of people there.
Yeah.
My daughter had already been vaccinated, so we got that out of the way. But I think I saw you volunteering there as well. So I didn't want to bother you to say hi, but I just thought I was very impressed that you rolled up your sleeves, not only opened the doors and getting that underway, but also volunteering yourself. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think
And
your wife also volunteered. as
she
well,
was
right?
there.
Everybody in.
Putting her to
Great.
work. No, we were very thankful that we had a great show out for the vaccine event. We had about 220 people who got vaccinated within a 4-hour span. So that's about one vaccine per minute. So pretty fast.
It was great, and the communication was great for everybody involved. So thank you so much for everybody doing that.
Thank you.
All of these joyful images that you saw. If you're following Clarendon on Facebook or Instagram, none of these images are new to you. They do a fantastic job at their school of updating the community on all the wonderful things that are happening on campus.
I still follow Clarendon, even though my kids don't go there. I'm always excited to see. I follow all of the social media accounts, but thank you. And I really think that, like, I love the robotics, the gardening. Like, those are things that I'm really passionate about. But seeing just every like activity and program that you guys have, like, that's incredible. And the fact that the kids are really happy and you're providing these opportunities, they're invaluable, especially those robotics opportunities that they will carry on forever. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great job for a brand new principal.
Thank you.
Anything else, guys? No? Points of pride?
All right, we'll go ahead and get into our points of pride. So first off, we have Miss Michelle Beltran. You want to come on up? All right. So positivity is the first word that jumps in our brains when we think of Michelle Beltran. Michelle has been at Clarendon for many years. Many people refer to her as the OG or original gangster because of her commitment to our school. She is definitely the ringleader of the Cougar Welcoming Committee, as she is at school at 6 o'clock in the morning, starting to welcome everyone as they show up with a bright smile on her face and a pep in her step. Michelle is always thinking about our Clarendon students and making sure we as teachers and staff are doing what is best for them, even if it's challenging for us to do so. She is patient and kind with her students and colleagues. As a mentor teacher, she is helpful to other teachers, especially those on her team, ensuring they have what they need to provide an Osborne education to each and every student every day. She has also taken some of our newest teachers under her wing, guiding them through their first year. One teacher even affectionately calls her his work mom. Michelle takes care to build strong relationships with her kids every year, consistently, to the point where they seek her out as 5th and 6th graders. We love Michelle and are grateful for everything that she brings to our campus and kiddos. Congratulations to Michelle Beltran for being one of our Clarendon's points of pride.
Congratulations.
All right, next up we have Molly Teresiano. Miss Teresiano, or better known as Miss T, has called Clarendon her home for 6 years. All Clarendon students matter to Miss T, and she wants them to be successful in academics and their personal endeavors. There's no doubt when you enter Miss T's room, you feel peace, calm, and ready to tackle any academics. Ms. T has shown that growth is vital for all of our Clarendon students. In prior years, Ms. T has led after-school tutoring and reading and math for sixth graders. During this school year, a teacher who was out for an extended amount of time before a module test, Ms. T volunteered to teach all 3 of their math classes to go over the review while her students tested. All Clarendon students matter to Ms. T, and she wants them to be successful in academics and their personal endeavors. In addition, Ms. T has stepped in to support our 21st Century Coordinator by watching students in the cafeteria, taking attendance, and helping to execute the many after-school clubs, all of which are crucial to continue with this competitive grant. The joy Ms. T adds to our campus is insurmountable. Whether singing karaoke with the students or dancing at our annual talent show, Ms. T creates a memorable year of laughs for all of our Clarendon students. She is a blessing to have on our Clarendon campus, and we all appreciate her hard work and dedication to our students. Congratulations to Molly Teresiano for being one of Clarendon's points of pride.
Thank you. Oh, very good.
Congratulations.
All right, and last but not least, we have Cynthia Arevalo. Flexibility is the name of the game in teaching, but Cynthia Arevalo has blown the traditional definition out of the water. Having to switch gears and start a new position is hard enough, but she has really embraced the position as a floating guest teacher on our campus and has been such an asset to the whole Cougar community. Cynthia wakes up every day, sometimes not knowing what class she might be covering or what her day might look like, or sometimes even subbing in multiple areas in one day. Yet, she comes in with her bubbly personality and a can-do attitude, ready to ensure a positive, welcoming environment for our students to learn in. Relationships is one of the core values Arevalo displays the most. One given is that there will be lots of giggles and laughs whenever you have a conversation with her. All of our students love her and seek her out when she's on duty to check in and have a conversation. She also provides a sense of consistency for our students. Students are excited instead of stressed when their teacher is out because they know she's going to be their guest teacher. She brings so much joy to our campus, and it's an honor to have her as a Clarendon Cougar. Congratulations to Cynthia Arevalo for being one of Clarendon's points of pride.
Congratulations.
Thank you all.
Thank you. So we will now move into.
Actually, one
Okay.
more celebration,
Yeah.
just more
Oh,
of
okay,
an
yes, of course.
announcement. It wasn't on the agenda, but just another celebration. Former superintendent, Dr. Wilma Basnet, who was here for so many years, this governing board, maybe not the members that were here when she was superintendent, but this board represents something. This board supported her in her civic involvement throughout her superintendency as she served as a member of the Phoenix West Rotary organization. Through her participation in this organization, she encouraged them to adopt this district and take care of our kids. And Phoenix West Rotary has been a long time, 25 plus years of supporting. One of the projects that has brought them great joy for many years was doing a holiday drive for students. And so they would they would ask the schools to choose families for them, a certain number of families per campus. And they would come and they would kind of adopt that one family or multiple families and take care of Christmas gifts for the entire family. So all the kids in the family. That went all the way up to COVID. And during the COVID year, we weren't, because part of that included like getting sizes of shoe sizes, shirt, pants, clothes sizes, getting a whole new set of clothes for them, getting them gifts. So it was a wonderful endeavor that they did every year. They weren't able to do that during the COVID year, but they still provided gift cards. And principals reached out to families and were able to continue supporting those families. Phoenix West Rotary, again, wanted to continue supporting our families, but we still weren't in the place for the interaction of the community coming in and being able to take kids out shopping and all those types of things. But they wanted to continue to support. So the membership of Phoenix West Rotary, through a check that they've written to the district as well as gift cards, is supplying $3,400 for the schools to be able to take care of our kids. I just received them today, so being able to distribute that in time for Christmas may be a little bit more difficult. The check just came in, some of the gift cards, but I'll be working with principals on identifying families in need during this holiday time, and making sure that those families are supported. So again, it's a long-standing relationship even after she's left the district, but part of it was made possible because this board supported her continuing to be an active member of the community while serving as superintendent. And for 25 years plus, they have taken care of the Osborne community, and we gladly accept and appreciate this gift on their behalf.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
That's it.
Thank you, Dr. Robert, and that's wonderful news right before the holiday. Now we will take a break. Thank you very much for all those who attended. Congratulations to those Points of Pride. It'll be a 5-minute break, and we'll be back after that. Those who received the Points of Pride award, they'll take pictures of you outside. And congratulations again.
For art, for home improvement, for artists, man. You know? Yeah.
Oh, no. She totally knows. Like, I'm like, what do you want? Like, me? Like, did you get the Christmas gifts for Christmas?
That's good, dude.
I'm like, damn, it's done.
Really good, man. That's I don't know what to do. I gotta figure that out. My wife's birthday is Christmas. Oh, I gotta.
Christmas, birthdays, and Three Kings, man.
The Kings and New Year's thrown in there in the mix. Yeah, and then we have a jam packed, man.
I love a good movie.
7? It was just, I think, daughter.
There you go.
Time flies. Yep. Here, yeah. Tempe. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when it happened, my wife's like, we should have got married in Puerto Rico. We got the kids baptized in Puerto Rico. So we got married here. She's like, we should have done that because it would have been out small, you know? It's like, you got so many friends that are coming, you know, this cousin or that cousin, you know?
Well, I did.
And I was like, it's hard to plan it from, we were living here at the time. Hard to plan it.
Like, we're not here. And I invited a bunch of family. They all came.
Heck yeah, man.
And it was like,
Oh, really?
yeah, we're like,
the entire budget committee recommendations for any salary schedule enhancements or staff increases at that time.
Other things that will be top of mind as we look ahead will be onboarding our HR technician. That will allow us to be 100% staffed in the Human Resources Department and really ensure that we are serving the Osborne community to the best of our ability. And then the last component there on the looking ahead would be the regular presence as well as availability to staff at all sites. That was a huge thing for me, both in my interview and now that I've been selected to be in this particular role at the beginning of the year. That will be something that we endeavor to do. And that is to ensure that people have access to human resources as a department regularly, because we do know that everyone is actually doing their job at site, so they may not have time within a workday to make their way over here. So how and to what extent can we kind of operationalize to make our way to them so that they have those touch points throughout the year? That concludes our presentation. At this time, we are open to take any questions or comments that you all might have. And thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Board members, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have one. For first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're very excited, about all these changes. I'm very excited. Dr. Woodland, it's fantastic to have you. It's great to see people in the district, staying in the district, moving up in the district. I love seeing that. And so I'm excited that you guys are bringing this fresh look and fresh focus on things. One thing, and I don't need an answer today, but just something I would love for you guys to think about while you're bringing this
Sure.
is, continue to look at how to recruit and retain wonderful people here is, something that just surprises me from Osborne as employer. This is true for a lot of school districts, is we offer 0 parental paid leave. And, most countries, most employers have some form of paid parental leave. And so that's one aspect of supporting and retaining, especially working families, working mothers, and, retaining our wonderful people and our wonderful teachers. So it's something that I don't want to put you on the spot and say, how are you going to fix it? But something that I would love to have, set your guys' wonderful talents at thinking about how we can maybe address that and support our staff that have families.
Thank you for that feedback. I do think that in general, we would like to retain great mothers and great fathers as well. So that is something that we will take back and strategize in regard to. And the next time you hear from us as a department, I'll have an answer for you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have. If I understood correctly, you're reviewing the onboarding process for implementation in the spring. Is that correct?
Yes, so we started with an internal, we started with looking at our internal process within the department, redefining those roles of who's going to be doing what, with where those responsibilities and those tasks fall. And then we developed internal flow charts and internal audit checks so that we can make sure that the process is meeting all of the required compliance components as well as all the other pieces that need to go into that onboarding process. And then we expanded that to the director input level. And so then that next expansion is going to be getting input from our entire administrative team, our site administrators, our principals that are hiring, and then refining those. As soon as that is done, that's going to be implemented immediately. But the hiring season that we feel when it's at its heaviest really kicks off in April for hiring for next year. But we're not going to wait to implement the changes that we were already implementing our internal changes to our flow now. And so as we continue to add each layer, those will be implemented as we go.
Okay. It sounds like the focus was a review of sort of internal logistical compliance issues. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was there a review, or is it? What I'm trying to get at is, were pain points identified for new hires coming in terms of the onboarding process? Was that part of the scope of the project, in terms of, like, for the new teacher or staff member or whatever, is it a cumbersome process? Did they have to go to this place, that place, that place? So was it focused
Yes.
more on internal or the onboarding experience for the employee?
Both.
Okay.
So when we talk, the new hire process is such a large process because it encompasses so much from the beginning of recruitment and posting to then applicants and how the ease of applicants actually applying and using our platforms to apply. And then talking about the screening process and then scheduling for interview process and then references and background checks. And it's a very cumbersome and robust process at this point. So we were trying to isolate, okay, this section that deals with, okay, applicants, and then this part of the hiring and manager, hiring administrators process involving reference checks and the burdensome paperwork that they deal with of communication and getting those things going to start the onboarding process. And then the actual onboarding process that happens with HR upon an offer being made, and the additional new hire paperwork that happens then. And how can we streamline all of that? How can we make all of those individual pieces of the whole process, taking into account ease of use on the end user, ease in the process for the hiring administrator, ease of use within the department and the flow and efficiency internally, and then those final external handoffs to the other departments.
Okay. I find the glad to see that there was focus on sort of what the employee goes through when they're onboarding, because it can be cumbersome. And then just out of totally random curiosity, this is not my area of expertise, but are state government agencies enrolled in E-Verify? Okay,
Yes.
just wanted to double check that.
Mhm.
And are your I-9s done sort of completely on paper? Or is it
Currently-
electronic? Is it a combination?
Currently, the employee is filling out that I-9 paperwork, and then we're transferring it online into the E-Verify system. Those are one of those pieces of the technology and the functionality of the platforms that our goal this spring is to transition so much of our paperwork that's actual paper to electronic forms, so that the HR department isn't spending so much time transferring data from paper into those systems.
Okay. Yeah, just
Mhm.
curiosity. Okay, thank you.
Spoken like an immigration attorney.
I just, I deal with those once in a while.
What about the job fair last Friday? How did that go?
I would say that it went well. Daniela here did a lot of the spearheading, but we were all present, pretty much every administrator. And we had some hiring on the spot that took place, which was something that we hadn't previously been able to offer. So getting my feet wet quite well, and it went really well.
How many did we have?
How many people? I believe about 10, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And we were able to make about 5 on-the-spot offers.
5 on what?
On-the-spot offers, so they left with job offers that particular day.
That's great. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments?
Just commendation to the team for the work throughout this transition. Colleen, if you went to find her down in her office, she often wasn't there. She was in human resources. Daniela has been making a transition. She was moving over to special ed and has made her way back into human resources and doing, all of that onboarding and training. And Dr. Woodland is, while doing all of this, managed to write a $2 million transportation grant. So they've kept themselves quite busy, wearing many hats. So commendations to all of them.
Super
Thank you.
team, Superwoman team. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to the administrative reports.
I have a follow-up question regarding the OMS suspension reports. And one of the concerns I have is sort of reintegration into it's more than the suspension reports, but reintegration into in-person learning on an ongoing basis, and sort of are we seeing more disciplinary issues, behavioral issues, you know, perhaps suggesting an underlying unmet need that's different than pre-pandemic?
Well, I mean, I can always let the administrators speak to that themselves, but, if we're talking pre-pandemic compared to currently, I think that Ms. Hayes, who has been in that role of looking at discipline over the prior 11 years or so, would probably state that the suspension numbers are
Normal?
quite lower
Oh, lower? Okay, good.
than they, have been in past years. And that's across the board.
Okay.
And I think that's a lot due to our equity work, our look at the serious acts of misconduct, and revision of those policies and practices that have been in place.
So perhaps beyond the suspension report, thinking about maybe discipline is not the right proxy to try to identify those underlying needs, but that's sort of where my head was going in terms of, we have substantial time in school now. Are we seeing lasting effects of the pandemic in terms of behavior and growth at the student level? And perhaps that's something for
Trauma,
research.
yes.
Yeah, perhaps that's something for just additional thought and research in the future. And maybe, regardless of where we are in terms of discipline and behavior from pandemic, it's heartening to hear that, perhaps the district itself just is taking a very different approach to discipline and what the objective of
Yeah,
that is.
suspensions may be down.
Yeah.
But the ongoing, what we see in terms of the effects of trauma on students is most certainly increased. So not only is there this heightened level of sensitivity of everyone, we're also handling it all internally way more than the idea of go home.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Frequently, being the mother of the district, I'm the oldest person here, I go by all the schools on a regular basis, and I've noticed that at middle school, at different times of day, there's like 2 or 3 kids out in the playground or the field or whatever you call it, or by the cars where the teachers park on the south side. Are we concerned why they're not in class? Or is it just a weird thing that I'm seeing?
I think sometimes, like, I don't know, I'm not the principal and I don't work there, but as a parent of a middle school student, if there are children by the car, children have doctor's appointments. I often go pick up my children in the middle of the day to take them to their appointments. I'm a frequent visitor as well as a parent. I've never seen just children out of the school just wandering around, roaming around, but that's just my experience.
Well, and I'd be happy to have, the administration, address any of those things. We have to make sure that we kind of stay agenda-wise within, any comments on administrative reports during this time, but I'd be happy to, in future agenda items, if there are certain things that we'd like to look at discussion in terms of discipline or things like that, we can certainly do so.
Moving on to the action items, we'll start.
Before we do that, I'd like to, this is a program that I feel is a really great opportunity. I want to commend the 5 people who were selected to go to Brazil for the summer. That I can't wait to hear about that experience when they get back. So
That's going to be wonderful.
Just seeing, very, very well deserving.
Moving on to action items. Action item A, approval of the fiscal year 22 budget revision. Colleen?
I don't have anything new to share from the public hearing at the beginning, just to restate that this is an increase compared to the adopted budget from July of just under $670,000 due to that additional carryover as the FY21 AFR was finalized.
Any
Colleen,
questions?
yes.
Go ahead.
Colleen, could you explain the reduction, the $187,000 reduction in the revenue control limit and the
Base support level?
support?
Yes, so that starts at the very top there. So if you look at the ADM comparison, while our ADM is up by 1 student compared to the adopted, our weighted count is actually down by 40 weighted students. So that's based on those projections of where our weighted count will be at time of adoption in July. And those projections are based on the students that we had the previous year and where their additional weighted counts were coming from. So that's K3 is additionally weighted. Those are those disability categories for special education students that have additional weights based on category, our ELL learners. So while our student count and our ADM only fluctuated by one student, where those students are identified for possible additional funding and weights in categories fluctuated and changed from time of adoption. So that's where that additional 187, because the actual carryover amount, the difference, the increase in the carryover from what was projected was just over 850,000. So then it's netting to that 670,000 increase.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Colleen, is there a motion?
Yes, I move that we approve the FY22 budget revision.
Is there a second?
I second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Colleen. Next item, approval of fiscal year 22 hourly salary schedule revision and pay increase.
Yes, so everyone's probably aware that the AZ minimum wage will increase to $12.80 per hour on January 1st. And so in order to be in alignment and in compliance with that increase to minimum wage, we need to adjust our hourly salary schedule mid-year. We haven't had to do this for the past several years because the increase that Budget Committee has recommended through that spring budget process and the board has approved at time of those classified letters of issuance in the spring have had an increase in them that surpasses any mid-year inflationary change to minimum wage at that January time. This year's inflationary increase to minimum wage in the state exceeded what we had already provided as an increase to our staff as of July 1. So we need to come back now at mid-year and enhance the schedules further to be in compliance with the minimum wage increase in January. Important to note that this enhancement to the salary schedule is recommended as a 2% increase, but all current hourly staff will receive the same 2% increase that goes into effect. We're applying the increase across the entire schedule, not just to the bottom entry-level minimum wage positions. So every position in the district will receive a 2% increase in the placement schedule, as well as all current staff will receive the same 2% increase to their wages. We recommend that the board approve the effective date of the increase as December 26th, prior to January 1st, because December 26th coincides with the start of our pay period. And when we're dealing with hourly staff increases, our payroll system does not handle varying pay rates within the same pay period very well. So we recommend starting it at the start of the pay period, which is Sunday, the 26th.
That makes sense. I don't want to make our payroll folks stay till 4 a.m. again.
No, let's not do that.
Any questions? Any comments? Is there a motion?
I move we approve the FY22 hourly salary schedule revision and pay increase.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, approval of calendar for 2022-2023.
All right, so at our last work study session, I presented 4 calendars. I've taken the feedback on those calendars and had an opportunity to talk with some parents, to talk with some staff, to have the conversation with our administrative team, and bring forth 3 calendars to look at with 1 recommendation for the governing board out of those 3 calendars. So although I am making 1 recommendation, I want you to take a look at the 3 and hear some of the feedback that was given. So Michael, can you scroll down a little bit and make this calendar? Can you close the sidebar just to make it a little bit? Yeah, okay. So this is option A that you're looking at right now. There's 1 change that is applied to all 3 calendars, and that's a move from trimesters to quarters. That doesn't affect the days, it just affects the grading periods. But this calendar is a mirror reflection, with 1 exception, of Phoenix Union High School District's calendar. This calendar starts on August 1st Monday, August 1st. The impact of that moving backwards is that returning staff would begin on Tuesday, July 26th. That would have new staff reporting on Tuesday, July 19th. That's amazingly early. All of the holidays are pretty much the same. The exception that I talked about, Phoenix Union doesn't take, actually there are two exceptions. In November, Phoenix Union does not take the Wednesday before Thanksgiving off. That's something that, that we've made that decision a while back. And I want to point out that November in that Wednesday in November decision as one step that we took of variance from Phoenix Union some time back, because we present a calendar that is critically of importance to the children and parents in the community, but also it's a calendar for our staff, for the 450 plus employees of the Osborne School District. And there was considerable feedback for a long time that that Wednesday off would be an appreciated break. We didn't make the move. I can remember my first 5 or so years, the discussion about should we take that day off, and we were hesitant to take the day off because the belief was if we take that Wednesday off, kids won't come Monday or Tuesday either. We'll just lose the whole week of learning, and that just isn't the fact. So that hasn't shown to be the fact. Moving into December, you can see that the semester would end on the 16th. A 2-week winter holiday would begin on Monday the 19th, go through December 30th, with a return to school on the first day back in January. January 2nd is the first Monday back. All the other dates that you see there, the 16th of January, 28th or 20th of February, those are federal holidays. March 31 is Cesar Chavez. Phoenix Union observes that day, as does Osborne. That April 7th is a board-declared holiday that we've normally had within Osborne School District in the spring. Phoenix Union has never done that board-declared holiday. That's something that we have done. The end date would be Thursday, May 18th. Phoenix Union's calendar ends on the 17th, one day earlier because they don't take that April 7th day off. So that is what the Phoenix Union High School District calendar looks like, with Osborne's logo on it and a couple exceptions. Not recommending this calendar. In presenting this to staffs, there was a lot of pushback against this calendar. The start date is one piece of that. But the December holiday was a definite one. That coming back on January 2nd was not something that folks wanted to do. Moving on to option B. Option B is my recommendation, the administration's recommendation to the board, but there's a third calendar in there that we'll go over in a minute. The start date is Wednesday, August 3rd. Still early, but a couple things about starting on the 3rd as opposed to the 1st. Number one, for elementary students, coming in midweek like that makes for a more gentle beginning of the school year. You come in, you learn about what it's like to be in your classroom, to be together, and you take a break, and then you come in and hit those academics hardcore on Monday the 8th. But there's an orientation period that doesn't go the entire week. So that was one thing that was appreciated by a lot of staff. And that wasn't just staff of kids with kindergartners. You know, that was something that was felt and appreciated by the middle school staff as well, that midweek entry point. September is what it is. October, that fall break is consistent with Phoenix Union's. The 10th of October is Indigenous Peoples Day that we are recommending to be taken as a holiday consistent with the city of Phoenix. I don't know if Phoenix Union includes that. I don't think they've included it on their calendar. So that's that recommendation. It adds on to the fall break a little bit. November is our same look that we've had. The big changes there in December going into January with the winter break. So there's that midweek split. So again, what we were looking at with the November break on having the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off of the Thanksgiving week, that thought of kids won't come during those first couple days. Well, we haven't seen that to be the case. And so giving a few days pre-December 24th, 25th holiday there to allow for travel, but then to allow for a couple days to extend into January so that you're not just coming right back after January, after New Year's Day. And also, just like the August 3rd date, allowing for that second semester to begin with another introductory phase. Come in on that Wednesday, you're there for a few days, you start big on the 8th on that Monday. So an ease into the year there. The other dates of the 16th of January, 20th of February, 31st of March, we've already discussed. The April board declared holiday, I feel a sneeze coming on, so I'll be turning away in a second. That board declared holiday that was April 7th, that board declared holiday, as it's so been called, has traditionally followed Good Friday. The reason that here comes that sneeze. Nope, just a teaser, just a teaser. The reason that we're looking at moving that is a day off in April, absolutely necessary. This is in the testing season. It's a rough time. We've got the heart of the testing window being left alone. We can use that last week in April for makeups and things like that. But when looking at the 7th, if we're taking the Cesar Chavez Day off, which this board historically has declared as important and wanting to retain that, there's not need for a break 1 week later to have 2 3-day weekends consecutive like that. So the 21st, just moving it a couple weeks later, that needed break in April for that board declared holiday, puts the last day of school at May 23rd, which is more in par. We normally finish the week before Memorial Day, which is on Monday, May 29th. The first calendar had us finishing a week and a half before that, which is quite early. The weather's quite pleasant in May, so extending as far into May as we can go is a good thing. This has departure from Phoenix Union, but not dramatic departure in many times. Calendar number 3 has some positive things to it, but it also has dramatic departure from Phoenix Union in 4 areas. I'll start in the middle this time. There is that departure from Phoenix Union on the 19th, 20th of December, and 2nd and 3rd of January. But it also has us starting on Monday, August 8th. That's nice. That's a nice change, but that's also an entire week different from Phoenix Union. And then the last week of the year, finishing on the 26th, Phoenix Union's finishing on May 17th. So finishing a whole, 9 days after Phoenix Union. So you have major departure from Phoenix Union in August, in December, in January, in May. It's a good feeling calendar in the sense of not starting as dramatically early and not finishing as dramatically early, but it also has far greater change from Phoenix Union. So as a result of those recommendation is with calendar option B. But this is where I open it up for questions, comments, discussion among the board.
Well, thank you for putting all this together and all the discussions that you've had. I really like C. I think they progressively get better, but I like C the best because I like pushing it to that May 26th and getting out right before that 3-day weekend. The weather's nicer. I think August 1st and even August 3rd is pretty early. That's my feeling. I mean, you know, B is better than A, no doubt about it. And but C would be my preference. And you know, what is there? Are you getting a consensus from the folks and the
Yeah,
people you're talking to?
in presenting this to staffs,
Yeah.
the overwhelming consensus was option B.
Mhm.
And I didn't go to every single school.
Sure.
I went to OMS and where did I present? OMS in Solano. So I got, you know, a K-6 community. I got the middle school feeling. When, you know, give me an option, you know, option 1, option 2, option 3. It was like 90% plus that were asking for option B. Option C, nobody was interested in option A. Option C, I shouldn't say nobody because I don't want to discount the 1 or 2 people that did, but it was quite insignificant. The option C, the 2 things that you talked about were the later start, and people weren't as concerned about May. It's the start in August. It was the weighing, which is more important, starting you know, that week later, starting on August 8th, or starting midweek. And there was that feeling for that midweek that resonated with staff members that were there. One thing about the May 26th date that wasn't liked is that that is an end for students and staff on the same day. When it's within the earlier in the week, you can end for students on one day and have staff back on another day for like that cleanup, you know, finishing things out.
What was the thought about, you know, starting the school year on a Wednesday, like, you know, which is an early release day? I don't love that idea, but what do you think about that? I mean, I think the first day of school is a full day of school, and typically on a Monday. What were the thoughts about starting on an early release day on a Wednesday?
Other than loving it.
I just think from a parent perspective, I guess.
I hear you.
I will give a differing opinion from a parent perspective.
Yeah.
Is that this is my personal experience, right? So want to clarify that is that one of my children always has a hard time at the beginning of the year, and I think the gradual introduction of a short day, couple days of school, the weekend to catch up, has worked for one of my kids. You know, I think that is sort of the thought. It's a soft start.
And it was even asked if we begin on Wednesday, August 3rd, if the 3rd, 4th, and 5th could be half days. It was asked. It wasn't promised, it was asked.
Don't love that idea.
Yeah, that would be difficult for like single parents or parents who work all day. Was the engagement with families? Like, how many families did you talk to about this?
So this was you know, I talked with some principals or staff members that talked with staff. So that, you know, in terms of like going out and doing a whole survey, did not do a whole survey on this. So, you know, it was getting those anecdotal pieces from different members on different campuses.
Have we polled the community before for doing
No.
calendars?
On doing the calendar, no, we haven't put out an entire survey, you know, asking the entire community.
From the teacher's point of view, I can see why option B is nice. I mean, from the teacher's point of view, you know, sometimes the beginning of the year is rough. You know, you got those kids, you're like, I need to get used to them. And especially in K-8, it's a different group of kids each year. It's not like high school, you may have repeats. So it's building new relationships. So starting off with a half day, like you said, easing them into it, I think that makes quite a bit of sense. But I do understand the pros and cons of it from the parent point of view as well.
Yeah, and we serve very different types of families, so also considering the needs of our families is important.
You know,
So I guess I'm not understand, like, I could use more information about the concern of a Wednesday. Like we have half day Wednesdays. So I don't know if I would agree with doing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as half days, but Wednesday being a half day is not unusual for us.
Right, that's what we do.
Okay. So like, I don't know so I don't know if there's a concern with that.
No, I'm fine with
Oh,
Thursday,
okay.
Friday. I was just saying for Wednesday, starting Wednesday, that half day and then gradually introducing, getting in rules, procedures of the classroom. That's why I like that one.
Okay. Sorry if I apologies if I misunderstood.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah. I guess I'm always thinking as a parent who has two children who my kids don't all go to the same district, like thinking about those families. And we serve a lot of them. My kids go to school and have siblings in high school, or not just at Phoenix Union, but other school districts. And how do you manage, I'm not saying vacations, not everyone has a privilege of going on vacation, but managing those calendars and like the pickups and drop-offs can be challenging, especially if they're not on the same, calendar. That's my only concern. I'm very privileged. My kids can miss school and my kids can do whatever, but not every family is like that. So we have to take them into
There are
consideration.
considerations, and I think part of the reason that we follow is because Phoenix Union has 28,000 kids and we have 2,800, or
Yeah.
fewer than that. So they don't, they just move forward with their calendar that's serving so many. But, they're making huge decisions moving forward with their instructional calendar based on the things that they need to do. So that they have days off that we don't have, these I days that are not consistent with what the elementary schools are doing, and they're just moving forward with it. They're introducing a school model that's a very flexible, allows for students to be working as well as it's one of their new micro schools that they're introducing next year. It's a very progressive, forward-thinking model, but that works for them and for what they're trying to accomplish, with their educational needs. But it doesn't consider the elementary component, of it. And when you're a unified school district, you get to have everybody on the same page. But they're moving forward with the things that they need to do to move their system forward. And I think that there are some places. That's why when looking at this calendar, I did present an option of a match to Phoenix Union. But I think that people are ready to not say, quite frankly, I'm from Southern California. You didn't have to publish a calendar. We knew when to come back. You come back the Tuesday after Labor Day. That's just what you do. I'd love that.
I like
But
that
we're
too.
not talking about that. That is real departure. We're talking about a day here or two,
Yeah.
within a certain week. And families are going to make the decisions that they're going to make. Right now, we have families that don't necessarily start, even if we publish the 3rd. A lot of times our families come in after that. So, and we have a lot of families that don't show up until the 2nd week of school. Because whether it's vacation decisions that they're making, I don't know what all the decisions are, but at a certain point we have to make our calendar. It's published. That's the direction that we're taking, and we move forward with it and not worry about a day or two. If we're making a month adjustment to the calendar, I can see that. But
Agreed. B and C are pretty darn close to each other.
they really
I
are.
mean, my vote's for C. I want to,
Yeah.
I want to, I want to be with everybody else here, but would love to
I
hear what
agree.
everybody else.
My vote is for C as well. And in the future, I would like a survey to the parents like I requested in the beginning, because I do value the staff's input, incredibly valuable, but I also would like parents' opinion as well, since we're serving parents as well.
My concern is the parent who has kids that would be going to our school and high school, and they're different. And if I have to go to work, who's going to take care of the little one while the big one's gone? And I would think number 2, the second one, is the better for parents.
So you're with B. Juan?
Before we vote or kind of take a poll, I like what you proposed in B and C, which is decoupling that April day from Easter. I I like having a few weeks kind of gap between Cesar Chavez Day, And then wherever, I like having that holiday later in April. If it so happens that one year Easter falls with that, so be it. But the rationale in my mind should be not that it follows Easter, but that it follows a specific amount of time after Cesar Chavez to break it up. So, and I know this is not necessarily binding on future boards and all that stuff, but I like that approach. In terms of the calendar, I think my preference would be B.
Well, there's a lot of pressure on me. Well, I'm not going to cast my vote right now. I will say that option B is where my heart is at, but would it be, is this something we have to ratify right now, or can we ask for it to be tabled, to have a survey sent out to families, and then come back and revisit it in January before we solidify it? Is that something that is possible? If not, I understand.
Well, enrollment starts in January, and we like
That makes
rolling
sense.
out calendars with our, it's part of the entire package
Yeah.
of the calendars going out with the enrollment packet and, everything moving forward in that way.
Yeah, I think parents and staff need to know what the calendar is going to be for next year.
I'm going to take a second to think. Sorry. This is tough. First year board member, I have a decision I have to make.
There's no pressure.
You say that, then suddenly all the pressure's on your shoulders. I tell my students when they're presenting, no pressure, and they're like, oh dear.
Well,
I think they're both
again,
great,
I just
so.
wanted to point out, I would suggest, if we're going to have a split vote like this, that we just kind of, somebody make a motion and recognize that, you're moving for a particular calendar and it's going to pass or it's not going to
Yeah.
pass.
That's fair.
The administration's recommendation is option B. I had very strong feelings towards among staff for that option B, but most certainly not. There was lots of positivity that was given from staffs about both option B and option C. One thing with option C, in terms of numbers of days in the semester, one of the things that I tried to set was, keeping the number of days within a semester equal. You don't have to be exactly the same. 180 days, you don't need 90 and 90. But as close to that, I asked to keep it within 5. Like an 85-95 is okay. Option B stays within that. It's an 89 and 91 split. Option C is a little bit off. It's 94 days in one, 86 in the other. So a little bit more of a spread there in the total number of days. They're quite similar. I think the biggest variation from what we've seen is around that winter break, the change in the April date, and the addition of Indigenous Peoples Day. That's present in both option B and option C. It really comes down to that start, whether it's on a Monday or if it's on a Wednesday with that kind of gradual beginning to the school year. And then the very end of the year, that option C has that end day with both staff and students ending on that Friday.
I will just keep this thing moving. I'm going to move that we adopt option C.
Option which?
C. C as in cat.
I second it.
So call for a
Call.
vote, and we see if
Yes,
there are 3
is-
votes for it. If not, then there's another motion.
I call for a vote. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay. Yeah, nay.
Opposed.
Opposed.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
I'm
I
sorry.
is going to be Luis, Ed, and I. For C.
For C.
Yes. Okay. Next item is a COVID update.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and move quickly through this COVID update, but there are some things that I wanted to go over pretty quickly. Number one, success with the vaccination clinics. We've had 6 clinics this fall, a total of 13 since the summer. Just in the fall, we've vaccinated somewhere around 2,500 individuals on our sites, which is fantastic. The numbers, because the younger students have just been approved for the vaccine. We've got some that are starting to trickle in from the elementary schools, but the numbers are around 20. We just had the Clarendon Clinic, which had over 200 people this past Saturday. Those folks haven't brought in their cards that were completing their second dose, so we've got a lot more that are going to be coming in from the elementary schools. Right now in Maricopa County, the vaccination rate from ages 5 through 14 is 12.5%. Which is pretty low. Osborne Middle School is doing much better. They're at about a 32% vaccination rate, so a little bit over 150. I think 151 was your number, Carol. So that's right around a 32% vaccination rate for the middle school. Like to see it higher, but we'll just keep promoting it. I will get with our providers and see what we can do for more vaccination drives come January.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I'm excited to see if we can provide the boosters as soon as I guess the provider can provide them to us. That would be exciting. And also, I didn't highlight this, and I didn't talk about it during the celebrations, but our school district, Dr. Robert, during a luncheon was highlighted because of our partnership with Valle del Sol and the amazing work that is being done. So it was really cool to see that we were being highlighted for this partnership in the vaccines. So thank you, Dr. Robert.
Continuing things, so something of interest for you, Maricopa County, our quarantining guidelines that we follow are driven from the county. The county's in a phase right now where they're piloting a program called Test to Stay. Right now, if there is a non-vaccinated, well, one big change that we're going to start to see is less quarantines of classrooms as a whole, because you've got more kids that are vaccinated now. And we know that if there are you're a close contact, but you're vaccinated, if you're not symptomatic, you don't have to quarantine. You can remain at school. The test pilot that they're running right now is what's called a Test to Stay program. It would allow close contacts that are non-vaccinated to not have to quarantine. They would be able to come, and on days 1, 3, and 5, they would test with the rapid tests. And if they continue to test negative, then they would be able to spend what they would have had to spend as their quarantine period to remain at school. They have to remain masked, which for us isn't an issue. For other schools, that would be something, so if they opted in. So they're continuing their piloting in a couple districts right now and are looking by late January to be bringing a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. But just wanted to update you on something that may be coming through Maricopa County. We're starting to have the conversation now about if there's going to be any expansion, number one, towards field trips or school community events, and we're just going to not make any decisions right now, but we're going to keep looking at vaccination rates, keep looking at percent positivity within the community, and start making those decisions. We've got a concert that's coming up at Osborne Middle School tomorrow. It's our very first in-school concert. Clarendon had a nice little concert this morning right in front of the district office, an impromptu. They just came and played for the district office staff. And so Ms. Georges is going to be having a concert of the Osborne Middle School Band. It'll be in Firehawk Park tomorrow. It's a limited number of families that are going to be there, but it'll be nice to have a community event, socially distanced, outdoors. Hopefully it doesn't rain. We'll see about all that. But anyway, those are some of the things. And then in terms of one thing with the vaccination that just kind of our executive team in some conversation about looking what we can do. Number one, we've incentivized with the $50 gift card for all the kids. We have a tremendous, we're allowed to use our ESSER funds for incentivizing not only the community, but also staff. And so that $50 gift card, we'd actually like to extend that to all of our staff members that are vaccinated. So we're gonna go through the process of asking folks to, if they have their completed vaccine card, to get that into Human Resources, and we'll be able to get the gift card. It won't happen until after the break, but it's a positive extension that we're able to do as an incentive and as a reward for staff that have gotten vaccinated, just to stay above board in terms of gifting of public funds. I'm probably going to be asking the governing board to approve this formally, so I'll be asking for a special meeting. It'll probably be a Zoom meeting that'll last all of about 5 minutes, but to ask for an actual action item to approve the expenditure of that ESSER fund for that incentive.
That's a great idea. Is there any way it can go up to $100, and can we do it before Christmas, just in case families?
Before,
Yeah.
not possible.
Oh.
And you know, we don't want to do, you know, we're looking at keeping that consistent with what we've offered to the community. But all of these gift cards, there's a whole process that goes through our finance department. So Deanna's in touch with Target Corporate, has to order them. They have to be preloaded, all that kind of stuff. So can't get our hands on $450 $50 gift cards that quick.
This might be very sort of in the weeds, but is that considered taxable income? In that, if it's $50, it should be $50.
That's a nice way of not having it
The
be
gift card.
payroll,
Yeah.
because then that $50 would be
$50.
40 at most,
Yeah.
more likely $30 to $35.
Also, it's just, did, my memory fails me, did we have to approve the same thing for gift cards for the students?
You know, it's no, we didn't, and I just want to be careful when it's that this incentive is being offered to staff members.
Okay.
And I don't mind taking, and I hope you guys don't mind taking 5 minutes in a Zoom call.
No.
just
Not
as
at
a
all.
of approach
It was,
with
it
that.
was more of if there was an issue that if it was required, I didn't remember doing it for
Right.
the students, so that's why I was like, do we need to correct anything? But, okay.
And the last thing in terms of mitigation strategies, our strategies have proven very, very strong, very positive. We've gotten vaccination now amongst a lot of students. One of the mitigation strategies that we've had in place that is cumbersome, it is, we do things that are necessary, but you know, looking at the plexiglass on desks, right now, that we'd probably have to spend close to $50,000 to replace all the plexiglass on desks that has been broken, or you know, you've got young kids and keeping it. It's very time consuming with the staff for cleaning it and all of those types of things. And looking at the other mitigation strategies that we have in place, I think that we are keeping kids quite safe between maintaining masking, encouraging vaccinations, maintaining social distances, to not have to keep replacing plexiglass on desks. So we're looking at stopping that mitigation strategy.
That makes
And
sense.
there's a date that we have to publish our upcoming mitigation strategies. Is that in January? Yeah.
So I would welcome kind of a ongoing review of, it seems like you are conducting this sort of ongoing review of mitigation strategies, because I think that there is a balancing, and the equation will change as there is more vaccinated students in the classroom. So, and there's a harm, I think, to having plexiglass as well as mitigation like masks. It might be worthwhile to have masks, but it is a harm that comes to the learning environment.
Yes.
So balancing that. You know, I'm also very interested though in the sort of feedback from the staff who work here as well, in terms of, you know, making sure they're involved in providing their feedback and their thoughts in terms of how quickly do we move away from established mitigation? So I'm in favor of contemplating easing off mitigation strategies, but I think it can be a measured pace.
Right.
Just my thoughts on that. Well, first of all these wonderful things with the vaccine clinics have been wonderful. I'm a little bummed that our vaccination rates aren't higher, but certainly it's not for lack of trying, and I appreciate you continuing to try and work on that in January. Plexiglass, I think that makes sense. I don't know if the science is there really on how effective the plexiglass is, so I totally hear you on that. From the masks, I think masks are something that scientifically we got to follow the science. Masks work. There's been a lot of quarantining happening this December. Just me talking to other parents and other people. Thank goodness not my own kids' class, at least as of yet. But we're not out of this thing yet. We are far from being out of the woods on this thing yet. So I appreciate everything that everyone's doing to, keep their foot on the gas of mitigation and safety to keep as many of our kids in school as possible for as many days as possible.
And I gotta say, if you've heard a lot about classes quarantining, it's not because of a massive spike in positive cases. Yes, there have been more cases, but for the number of students quarantined, those quarantine decisions aren't made just on positivity. They're made based on close contacts with mitigation strategies being followed. So if there are classes where students are refusing to wear masks and they're now a close contact and they weren't wearing a mask, we're going to have to possibly expand from, 1 or 2 kids being quarantined to an entire class. And that's why you're seeing whole classes being quarantined. It has more to do with the mitigation than just a positive student. It's our best case scenario is someone is positive, they have to quarantine, and that's it. Next level down is they're positive, they ate lunch in the cafeteria, the kid to their right and the kid immediately to their left, because there was an extended period of time with someone within that proximity that wasn't wearing a mask that they have to quarantine. When we're quarantining more than 3 kids on any one case, that's mitigation not being followed.
Is mitigation not being followed something that the administration on each campus is sort of addressing?
Most certainly, and very diligent. And going into classrooms, having conversations, messages home to parents. But this is why the contact tracing process happens through conversation with between the supervising administrator and the teacher in that classroom. That teacher's being honest with us and yeah, that kid, he's been struggling, or these 4 kids around. I'm constantly having to go over to that table and tell those kids, pull up your mask, pull up your mask. When they tell us that, through that conversation, we have to make the decision to expand quarantine. So it's not out of an effort of we haven't lightened up on the mitigation, but there's COVID fatigue that's happening. And staying on the gas is important, but yeah, that diligence is we're trying our best to maintain it.
And to clarify my understanding, if there are, let's say, the lunch example that you reference, one child tests positive, but the 2 children next to that child who tested positive are both fully vaccinated, would they have to quarantine?
No.
Okay.
Vaccinated, asymptomatic individuals, staff or students, do not have to quarantine.
Okay.
That's it for my update.
Thank you for your update, Dr. Robert. I guess I could add this to the future agenda items. So, thank you very much. We'll move on to the board development reflections on the governing board evaluation. Does anyone want to go, or should I just start with?
And you guys had an opportunity to give feedback at the end of that. This is just something that, whenever we have a meeting, I put it on the agenda, so.
Does anyone want to give any feedback? We won't go through everyone.
I just appreciate the having a lead,
Mhm.
like an outside
Facilitator.
individual facilitator, thank you, to like help guide us in the conversation, keep us on track, I think led to resulting in a very productive, effective meeting.
I agree. In the past, I'm the one who has facilitated them, and it's a lot of work. So I did really even enjoy, because when you're facilitating, you're like trying to run the show and
Mhm.
not really participating as much,
Mhm.
more than you're just trying to lead the conversations. And I actually felt like I was able to participate
Mhm.
for once, so I enjoyed it as well because of that. Any other comments?
Agree with all that, and it was nice to see, fellow board members' kind of comments and thoughts and kind of ratings, and realize that there's a lot of cooperation and consensus, and I think goodwill here among our board members, and it's just a pleasure serving with you guys.
Likewise, sorry, I'm trying to get Felix to soccer practice. I'm ordering an Uber. Um, but yeah, I agree. It's really, truly, I'm not saying this just to say it is an honor to serve with you guys, because I hear the stories all the time. So I'm grateful, always grateful. And we will move on to reflections, Luis.
I think we had a great discussion today concerning, the, staff, parents, especially around the calendar. So I really appreciated that no one here tried to dominate conversation. We all, shared equally. And we all had, the same goal and end, but different ways to get there. So thank you.
Thank you, Luis. Ed?
Agree with that, and a lot of exciting things happening here. I'm excited that there's more events and school things and the things that we're used to of coming together. And like the Merriment and Melrose we just had this past weekend, which was fantastic. And it's very cool to see these vaccination events happening. And just wanted to, it's also a delight to see our long-term staff here in the district moving up into places like, being the head of HR and things like that. So I love seeing that. It seems like I get to see it every board meeting, and it's just it shows how special. Or having a parent who's coming to work in the district. People stay here, they stay in the district, and love the district. And so I want to spread. Hopefully, we can continue to spread that love this holiday season, and bring more families into the district.
This is the last board meeting of the year, and so this composition of the board has served together for 1 year now, and it's been, so that's on my mind, and it's been an honor to serve for this year with my colleagues. It's been a very, I feel, effective, productive, collegial experience. So, thank you. I look forward to 2022.
Yeah, it is excellent that we all get along so easily. I mean, we can have disagreements, but they're not like stupid. No, we've all worked together and we're calm. I think it's fantastic, and I think the Clarendon presentation today was remarkably wonderful. For even to create those things and have the teachers and the staff, the kids participating was just really exciting and wonderful.
I agree. I really enjoyed, I always enjoy the presentations and learning and seeing what is going on in our schools. It really, for me, since I've been here the longest, well, Sue has too, but I get to reflect on how sitting in this position and looking in front of me, like how even the presentations, how like diverse our community and our staff looks. And I really love that. This was never the experience when I joined the board. At one point, I was the only parent and the only person, the only Latina here. So I am really grateful for the changes and just seeing, how beautifully diverse our community, our staff, and, our students have always been diverse, but now we get to represent and reflect the student population. And I love seeing that. And as the board president for the past couple of years. I don't even remember how many years. 3. I will no longer be serving as board president coming the next year. It's been a complete honor. This is my last board meeting as president, and I have enjoyed it greatly. And I've just loved being part of this community. I'm so proud to be a parent here, and so proud of like our students and um, our staff and everything that happens. I'm always really proud when I'm out at events or talking to people about how amazing, this district is, and I really do mean it. And serving with them is an honor, and I'm looking forward to seeing our new president and our board develop into the amazing leaders they already are and in their new roles. And it's been an immense honor. And yes, like I'm always grateful to see parents who stay and who work in the district and sometimes run for office. I think that is so important. Those voices are so needed. And yeah, and working alongside you, like it's been an immense honor. Like I've learned so much from you, and you're an incredible leader. So I'm really grateful for your leadership and to be part of this little family and community. So thank you.
Jeff, you're doing an amazing job at Clarendon, and it really comes through. I love how you chose to highlight joy. It goes with the holiday season, but you're not supposed to have favorites, but it's my favorite core value. I love that is one of our core values, and I love that you focused on that, and it's really evident at your at Clarendon among your staff. Super excited for the amazing organization that you two are bringing into human resources. Super excited for 2022 and beyond. And Elenia, watching you grow as a leader over the past 3 years has been absolutely tremendous. You're very well ready for leadership and lots of other capacities professionally, but here in how you've really shaped the direction that this board has come, and it was quite a thing. Elenia was ready at this time last year. It's a lot being with, you've got a senior in high school right now. It's a huge thing, but she saw a new board and felt a sense of obligation to the greater community and knew that she needed to, if called, if nominated to serve as president again, she knew that she had an obligation to continue that for this greater community. So thank you for giving us an additional year, and look forward to new leadership in the future. But you've had a fantastic model over time, and just to watch how that growth happens is wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. Robert. Moving on to future agenda items, Luis.
I do want to, we talked earlier about trauma, and especially coming out of, the pandemic, getting back to in-person learning. I mean, you see it on social media a lot, just things are growing, whether or not it leads to in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, there are more disciplinary actions, and it's probably higher now. May not be the case here, but at least overall it has been. So wouldn't mind a review of our social emotional wellness learning that happens in classrooms, the curriculums we offer, and see if there's any ways we can bolster that. Because, I mean, I know it, I see it at my school, it's little things. It's nothing that's, that's going to truly derail a classroom, but it's little things coming out of it, and it's the COVID fatigue. So I'm looking to see what we can do to help our students with it.
Thank you.
For me, at some point in the new year, would love to have a bit of a deep dive and discussion about our new school. Really, any other year other than all the COVID stuff happening, I think we would have had a lot of discussion about, essentially we opened a new school this year, this fall, which is Montecito Montessori School, and we've got great ideas and great plans and great hopes of growth and enrollment and activity at the Montecito campus. I would love to kind of talk a bit more in depth about where we are, how do we grow, kind of take stock of how the first half or whatever that happens to be is going. And we were talking about, I thought about this when we were talking about the NAU program and it's kicking off, and Dr. Robert said something very profound, said, when you're starting something new, you want it to succeed, and I was thinking about, I want to check in on our Montecito school, because I really care a lot about that school and want that school to succeed and grow our presence at that campus. So would love to do some kind of deep dive in how we're doing there, what our goals are there, how do we get there, and how we can support that.
Thank you.
Nothing for me at the moment.
Sue?
I am so happy to be a board member in this school district. I just think everything is working so well, and people are just from all parts, whether the custodian, the principal, the teachers, we're all working together, and that's the best thing that we can do for the kids. And I'm anxious to get back to be able to going to the band concerts and the plays and all kinds of fun things.
Thank you, Sue. I have 2 items. One is concerning the sports teams that practice on our fields during after school and on the weekends. Um, is there any involvement in, or can we involve them in the future so they're aware of like our vaccine clinics? And I know, or I'm not sure, can we find out if there could be a requirement so they can be vaccinated if they're going to be practicing on our fields? And the other item is because of the recent school shootings, and that happened here and at one of our Phoenix Union High schools. Their other school districts have been working on resolutions. The resolution is just a belief system, but to ensure that there's secure storage, so that there's like a public campaign, awareness campaign on ensuring that um, people who are gun owners store them properly. I think that that is so important. We may have some parents or community members who may own guns, and maybe adding to this in a campaign to educate children of what it means to find a gun in their home, and how to stay away is important to me, as these deaths sometimes can be prevented. So I would like to add that. I will share the resolution that other school districts have passed with my board, and then we can move forward from that. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are going to move into executive session, but the regular meeting has ended. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night, and I won't see them again. Feliz Navidad, Próspero Año Nuevo.
I move that we move